My old friend called me a pathetic person who never accomplished anything. That night I cried myself to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I bought the luxury apartment she lived in with cash. If this story finds you, please subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. This isn't just a story, this is a lesson. My name is Maria. I'm 38 years old, and until last month's events, I thought I was measuring success wrong. But sometimes the greatest success is achieved quietly. And sometimes old friends are the people who know you the least. I graduated high school in Miami, near South Beach, a middle-class school. There were different groups in our class, the wealthy, the athletes, the academics, and us, the ordinary kids. I was one of those ordinary kids. My closest friend was Madison. Long blonde hair, blue eyes, wealthy family, always looked perfect. I always stayed in the background next to her. Short, brunette, middle-income family, no special qualities. Madison was always at the center. She was homecoming queen, cheerleader, dated popular boys. I lived in her shadow, but I was happy. Because being Madison Williams's best friend made me feel special. After graduation, we went separate ways. Madison went to University of Miami to study business. I enrolled at Miami-Dade Community College. There was no money, I couldn't afford more. My relationship with Madison gradually diminished. She made new friends at university, and I started working. Our communication was limited to social media. I followed Madison's Instagram. Everything was perfect, beautiful photos, expensive clothes, luxury restaurants, vacations. I was quietly building my own life. After community college, I started working. My first job was as a real estate assistant. At a small real estate company, with minimal salary. But I was learning the real estate sector. After Madison graduated, she became marketing director at her father's company. Everything she shared on social media was a success story. I was still an assistant. But I was doing something different. I was putting what I learned into practice. I bought small properties, renovated and sold them. Very small deals at first, but I was making profit. In 2010, I made my first big investment. I bought a condo that had gone into foreclosure. For $50,000. I renovated it and sold it for $85,000. $35,000 profit. I didn't tell anyone. Madison's life was shining on Instagram. Her new BMW, designer bags, photos at Miami's trendiest places. I was quietly planning my next investment. In 2012, I started a bigger project. I bought a rundown apartment building. 6 units. I renovated all of them, converted them to luxury rentals. They started bringing in $12,000 a month. Madison got engaged. To Brad, who worked at a hedge fund. She was sharing perfect wedding plans on social media. I was making plans to buy the third building. By 2015, my portfolio had reached $2 million. But nobody knew this. I drove a simple car, lived in my modest apartment, wasn't very active on social media. Madison's wedding was magnificent. The photos on Instagram were very impressive. I wasn't invited. This hurt me, but I understood. We were living in different circles now. In 2018, I made the big move. I bought a 20-unit luxury apartment building in Miami Beach. For $5 million. Cash. At this point my portfolio had reached $8 million. Madison's life was changing too. Her marriage to Brad seemed to be struggling. Her social media posts had decreased. But she was still maintaining her luxury lifestyle. When the pandemic started in 2020, my business wasn't affected. I already had real estate rental income. But the company Madison worked for was going through tough times. By 2022, my net worth had reached $15 million. I owned 4 large apartment buildings, 12 luxury condos, and 6 commercial properties in Miami. But I was still living in the same modest apartment. Madison's situation had become difficult. She had divorced Brad. They had one child. She was receiving alimony but couldn't live as luxuriously as before. On social media, instead of designer bags, she was now posting single mom life content. But her attitude was still the same. She was trying to appear successful. 2023 was the 20th anniversary of our high school graduation. A reunion was organized at a luxury hotel in Miami Beach. I didn't want to attend, but my curiosity won. When reunion night came, I was very excited. But at the same time anxious. Would I still be seen as unsuccessful Maria? The hotel was magnificent. Fontainebleau, Miami Beach. I wore a simple dress, modest jewelry. My goal wasn't to attract attention. When I went inside, I started seeing old classmates. Everyone had changed so much. Some were unrecognizable. When I saw Madison, I was surprised. She was still beautiful, but different. More tired looking. She had her small group around her, still trying to impress them. When she noticed me, she smiled. But this wasn't a genuine smile. Oh my God. Maria. You haven't changed at all. This was a sentence I didn't know how to interpret. Hello, Madison. You look beautiful too. Thanks, hun. Are you still living in the same place? Yes, still in Miami. Cute. Me too. But now I live in my luxury apartment in Coral Gables. You know, the divorce settlement went very well. When she said this sentence, I felt like she was showing me her superiority. What work are you doing? She asked. Real estate. Oh, cute. Are you an agent? Sort of. I'm doing consulting now. High-end clients. Very lucrative. Madison introduced me to the group next to her. Girls, this is Maria. My high school friend. She's still, how should I put it, the same Maria. Nothing has changed. This sentence hurt me deeply. Same Maria meant unsuccessful Maria. Maria is a real estate agent, Madison said, as if it was a small job. Someone from the group asked, which agency? I do my own business, I said. Madison laughed. Oh, independent, huh? Risky. I prefer corporate structure. More stable. The conversation continued. Madison constantly talked about her own successes. How well she came out of her divorce, her luxury apartment, her consulting business. I listened quietly. People remembered me as Quiet Maria. I was always like that. Is Maria still single? Someone from the group asked. Yes, I said. Ah, don't worry, hun, Madison said. The right person will come. Maybe you've been too focused on your career. But how challenging can being a real estate agent be? This last sentence was the last straw. But again, I didn't speak up. As the evening progressed, I realized Madison was constantly belittling me. Every sentence positioned me as the unsuccessful old friend. Maria, I heard you still live in that old apartment. Nostalgic. Maria, I hope business is going well. This market is so tough. Maria, have you ever thought about marriage? Or are you a career woman? Well, sort of career. Each sentence made me feel a little smaller. The worst was what she said when introducing me to others. This is Maria. My high school friend. She never accomplished anything, but she's a very sweet girl. Still living in the same place, doing the same job. Some people never change, you know? When I heard this sentence, I was devastated. Never accomplished anything. When I got home at the end of the night, I was crying. After 20 years, I was still seen as unsuccessful Maria. Madison was still looking down on me. I couldn't sleep that night. Madison's words kept spinning in my head. Never accomplished anything, still living in the same place, some people never change. When I woke up in the morning, I was very angry. but at the same time determined. I wanted to see who Madison really was. My first task was stalking Madison on social media. I found her apartment in Coral Gables. The residences at the Biltmore. A luxury building. One of Miami's most prestigious locations. I went to the building's website. I examined the floor plans. I tried to guess where Madison lived. I identified her unit from Instagram photos. Then I did real estate research. I found the owner of the building. It was a big development company. But there were also units for sale in the building. That day I called my realtor. Richard, a reliable man I'd been working with for years. Richard, can you get information about the penthouses at the residences at the Biltmore? Sure, Maria. Why, are you thinking of investing? Maybe. Richard researched and called back. Maria, there are currently 2 penthouses for sale. $8 million and $12 million. Both fully furnished, ready to move in. I want details about the $12 million one. Maria, this is a very big purchase. Are you sure? Very sure. Richard sent the details. 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, 4,500 square feet, panoramic bay view, private elevator, rooftop terrace. Perfect. Richard, I want to buy this penthouse with cash. Maria, this is $12 million. I know, Richard. Can I negotiate? Seller is motivated. Maybe it could come down to $10.50. If we agree on $10.5 million, let's start the paperwork tomorrow. Richard was surprised. He'd been working with me for years but hadn't expected such a big purchase. Maria, what about financing? Cash. Maria, can you really pay $10.5 million cash? Richard, you don't know my portfolio. Yes, I can pay. The next day, procedures began. Paperwork, inspection, appraisal. Everything was moving quickly. Richard continued questioning. Maria, how did you accumulate so many liquid assets? Richard, I've been doing real estate for 15 years. You've only been working with me for the last 5 years. You don't know my previous investments. But this is incredible. When the inspection was completed, Richard was even more surprised. Maria, you've been doing this business much bigger than I thought. Richard, I'm a very private person. Nobody knows my net worth. A week later, the purchase was completed. I paid $10.5 million cash. I had become the owner of the largest penthouse at the residences at the Biltmore. But I hadn't revealed it to Madison yet. Before moving to the penthouse, I made a visit to the building. I met with the concierge, spoke with the building manager. I got information about premium services. Mr. Rodriguez, I'm the new owner. How is the resident mix in the building? Mrs. Garcia, it's a very exclusive building. Most residents are high net worth individuals. Very quiet, very private. Can I get information about other unit owners? We have a privacy policy, but I can give general demographic information. Business executives, doctors, lawyers, retired professionals. Is there a resident named Madison Thompson? Yes, Ms. Thompson. Unit 24B, renter. Very nice lady. Renter? Yes. The unit owner lives in another property. Ms. Thompson stayed with a lease agreement. So Madison wasn't the owner of the apartment. She was a tenant. Mr. Rodriguez, who was the owner of Unit 24B. I can't give names due to privacy, but it's an investment company. They own multiple properties. To satisfy my curiosity, I continued researching. I found the owner of Unit 24B in public records. Miami Luxury Properties LLC. It was a subsidiary of an investment fund. The market value of the apartment Madison lived in was $850,000. Her monthly rent was probably between $4,500 to $5,000. The penthouse I bought was 12 floors up, 12 times more luxurious. When moving day came, I was excited. The moving truck came, I didn't have many belongings anyway. I had ordered new furniture. I was planning to run into Madison, but it had to look coincidental. On the third day we met. In the lobby, going to the elevator. Madison was surprised when she saw me. "Maria? What are you doing here?" "Hello, Madison. I live here." "What do you mean you live here? Visiting someone?" "No, I live here. In this building." Madison's expression changed. Shock, then confusion. "Maria, can you afford this? This building is very expensive." "Yes, I can afford it." "Which unit?" "The penthouse." Madison was frozen. "Which penthouse?" "The top one. 12th floor." "Maria, you're not joking, are you?" The elevator came. "Madison, if you want, come up, I'll show you." Madison quietly got into the elevator. I pressed the penthouse button. "Maria, this penthouse is worth millions of dollars." "I know. How did you afford it?" "Madison, I'm a successful real estate investor." When the elevator reached the penthouse, the doors opened. It opened directly to my apartment. Private elevator. When Madison entered, her mouth fell open. 4,500 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows, panoramic Miami view, marble floors, custom kitchen, rooftop terrace. "Oh my God, Maria. This is incredible." "Thank you." "Maria, do you really own this place?" "Yes." "How is this possible? Aren't you a real estate agent?" "Madison, I'm a real estate investor. Not an agent." "What do you mean investor?" "I buy and sell properties. I manage my portfolio." Madison went out to the terrace. Miami Beach, downtown, Coral Gables view. Stunning. "Maria, how much was this penthouse?" "It was $12 million. "Maria, did you pay $12 million? "I negotiated it down to $10.50. Madison's knees buckled. She sat in the chair on the terrace. "Maria, I completely misjudged you." "So it seems. You're actually a wealthy woman." "Madison, I never showed off my wealth." "But you didn't say anything at the reunion." "Madison, you didn't listen to me. You talked constantly." Madison started crying. "Maria, I did something horrible." "What did you do?" "I belittled you. I made you look unsuccessful. But actually you're much more successful than me." "Madison, we don't need to talk about this." "Maria, I'm so sorry. I was jealous. My life isn't that perfect." "I know, Madison." "How do you know?" "Madison, divorce records are public. You receive alimony. You're not the owner of this apartment, you're a tenant." Madison looked at me in shock. Did you research me?" "Madison, I'm in the real estate business. Doing research is my job." "Maria, how cruel I was to you." "Madison, that's true. Can you forgive me?" "Madison, I've forgiven you. But this doesn't mean we continue being friends." "Why?" "Because you judge me based on material success, not my character." Madison continued crying. "Maria, I'm so shallow." "Madison, you haven't changed yet. Even now you respect me because I'm successful. When you thought I wasn't successful, you didn't respect me." "Maria, I'll change." "Madison, you're 38 years old. Your values are already formed." Madison stood up. "Maria, I should go. I apologize again." "Madison, you don't need to apologize. You just showed who you are." After Madison left, I felt very comfortable. I had nothing left to hide. The next day Richard called. "Maria, yesterday someone named Madison Thompson called me. Said she knew you, wanted information about your net worth." "What did you say?" I didn't say anything, of course. Client confidentiality. But I was curious. Richard, Madison is an old friend. She's a curious person. Maria, you've lived very privately. I respect that. A week later Madison called again. Maria, can I talk to you? Sure. Maria, I thought a lot. You gave me a very big lesson. What lesson? That appearances can be deceiving. And that I should never underestimate anyone. That's a correct lesson. Maria, can I repair our friendship? Madison, our friendship was never real. What do you mean? You saw me as a sidekick, not as a friend. In high school and now. Maria, that's not fair. Madison, this is very fair. You introduced me at the reunion as someone who never accomplished anything. Madison was silent for a long time. Maria, am I a terrible person? Madison, you're a shallow person. Not terrible, but shallow. Can this be changed? Madison, that's your problem. I can't solve it. From that day on, Madison called a few more times. But I kept my distance. People don't change. Only circumstances change. I now live in my penthouse. The view is incredible, the lifestyle comfortable. But most importantly, I'm no longer hiding. I met my neighbors in the building. Dr. Elizabeth Chen, cardiologist. Mark Davidson, tech entrepreneur. Patricia Williams, retired federal judge. They got to know me based on my character, not my success. We have real conversations. I occasionally see Madison in the building. Now friendly but distant. She understood that I'm not in her league, I'm above her. Madison's attitude completely changed. Now she tries to impress me. But it's too late. Last month Madison moved out of her apartment. She probably couldn't afford the rent. She didn't even say farewell to me. This story taught me this: never let anyone define you. Madison tried to define me as unsuccessful. But I defined my own success. Sometimes people judge you based on appearances. Sometimes old friends are the worst judges. Because they see you with your past version. I'm now 38 years old. My net worth is over $15 million. I'm a multiple property owner. I have financial freedom. But most importantly, no one can underestimate me anymore. Because I know my own value. Madison is still doing consulting. She makes good money but isn't wealthy. I don't judge her. I just keep my distance. Because real friendship happens with people who respect you when you're struggling, not when you're successful. I found those people. Madison isn't one of them. And that's okay. Because I'm no longer pathetic Maria. I'm successful, independent, confident Maria. And no one can take that from me. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share your own stories in the comments. Your voice matters.